With the ascendance of Emperor Johann I to the throne, popular unrest increased year after year. More and more uprisings occurred across the whole empire. Heresy raised its ugly head. Some said that the armies of heretics were led by demon-possessed heathen kings who wanted nothing but the destruction of the Herat religion and to topple the young ruler from his throne. The most powerful heretical cult became that of the Plague God, who gave his followers odd pleasures and destroyed the flesh and minds of his enemies. The cultists themselves often turned into sore-ridden monsters, but they accepted this with enthusiasm as a blessing from their god. Wrath, pain, and terror brought them such bliss that they often disfigured their own bodies. The most ardent warrior against heresy became the master of the Order of the Dusk Blades, Lord Marcus. His feats were legendary. However, upon visiting the same forest where the grim king had been defeated, the ancient evil caught him too. After one of many campaigns into the forest of Lubenia, Lord Marcus returned possessed by demons. He fought insanity for a long time, but it was a greater challenge than even he could handle. Driven by ghostly voices, he sowed the first seeds of heresy among the imperial orders. Meanwhile, darkness loomed on the edges of the empire. Pestilence came from Lubenia's forests and swiftly spread to all the empire's new provinces. At first, people thought that it was a plague epidemic, but the disease turned out even more terrifying than the Black Death. The infected lost their sanity and turned into monsters, hunting those who had not yet been touched by the disease. Darkness plunged its fangs deep into the flesh of the eternal Empire of Light. Later, during the Inquisitional trials, witnesses said that they saw warriors in the colors of the Order of the Black Crows in the forests of Lubenia before the outbreak of the Great Decay. Following their interrogations, witnesses one after another either succumbed to the pestilence or disappeared from their cells despite the doubled guards and depth of the cells underneath the Capitol Temple. When the pestilence appeared, Lord Marcus seemingly awoke from a dream and started acting decisively. The first legion to fall were the War Dogs. Traitors from the Order mixed a potion given to them by Lord Marcus into their master's wine, and Master Karn went into an unrestrainable rage. Defeating many imperial servants and priests, he led his legion into the Plaguelands, where he joined ranks with the damned, fighting against the Emperor. Rivers of blood were spilled. The Emperor sent his best warriors to stop the darkness and defeat the heretics and apostates hiding in the Plaguelands. The Twilight Riders were the first to counter-invade Lubenia. Their sweeping offensive forced the heathen armies to stumble and then retreat deep into the forests. Many of the Plague God's priests were killed and thousands of damned bodies were burned. But even thick forest and deep swamps could not stop the Emperor's will. Columns of imperial lions already marched along the roads liberated from the enemy armies. Division after division marched under the forest canopies. The ringing of clashing blades rose across the province as it mixed with the war cries of imperial knights and the death cries of heretics. Only the frantic counterattacks of the torturers, as the traitorous war dogs now called themselves, could slow down the advance of the Emperor's best troops. The long battle continued day and night. Fresh troops replaced the fallen while the wounded were carried to the rear, and the battle continued with a renewed vigor. At some point, a combined operation between the Imperial Lions and Twilight Riders crushed the torturers and sent them retreating into the deepest, darkest forests. With sword and fire, Imperial soldiers cut their way through hordes of enemies, but when victory was close and Lord Ivan, Master of the Lions, was decisively crushing Karn's berserkers, cutting his way to their leader, the troops of two other Imperial orders marched onto the battlefield. The beleaguered, wounded Imperial Lions and the Twilight Riders raucously cheered the Dusk Blades as they formed up for battle. Behind them, soldiers in Black Crow colors marched in line, crossbows at the ready. From there, the battle ended quickly and was one of the most mournful pages in the Empire's history. The Dusk Blades attacked the unsuspecting Imperial Lions from the back, splintering their formations and mercilessly destroying their demoralized opponents. The Black Crows rained bolts down upon the Twilight Riders, instantly depriving them of their decisive mobility. The Imperial forces were crushed within an hour. The master of the Twilight Riders, Peregrine Plague, was taken prisoner by the Black Crows, and Lord Ivan went missing in action. The remnants of the Imperial Lions were scattered, and many succumbed to the pestilence. Under torture, Peregrine Plague agreed to trick the warriors of his order into a Black Crow trap, where they were surrounded. Threatened with being turned into mindless damned, the Twilight Riders took an oath of allegiance to the Plague God.